Hello, Jody R here. Welcome to today's video on installing a node on the COTI Testnet. What we'll do is we'll go to my new Gitbook site, which is jodyr.gitbook.io/jody-docs. Here I've wrote a guide for both testnet and mainnet. It's mostly testnet at the moment. So as you can see down the left hand side, we've got signing up, KYC, secret key and seed. This is basically the wallet and the KYC section. Then after you've went through the sign up and doing the KYC and creating the seeds, etc., we will go to registering a VPS. And I've done it on Contabo. Contabo.com is probably one of the cheapest and with decent quality and decent uptime as well. I think it's perfect for our testnet. So a lot of the guys already on the testnet are running these because of the price for the spec that you get. So obviously the spec that we need is an Ubuntu 18.04 with 320 gig, 6 CPU, 16 gig of RAM and 5 terabyte of bandwidth. As you can see, the Contabo node, which is labeled the best choice in that screenshot, has 6 CPU, 16 gig of RAM, 400 gig SSD, and allows you to do 2 snapshots as well, which is great. So that you know, once you've set up and got it running, you can do a snapshot just in case. So we'll go through all that registering. So the screenshots on the guide here, which if you go to the guide you'll see them, just take me through signing up for Contabo for that node. I've put some nice labels on them so you can see what I've selected for where I live, etc. And it just took me through registering, and at the very end what happens is it'll take about 3 hours for the provisioning of the VPS. After those 3 hours, your VPS, you'll then be emailed, and once you're emailed you'll have all your details on, like your username, your password, your IP address, etc. So as you can see here, the 3 hours there, 3 hours for your provisioning. So as I said before, so next thing we'll do is obviously you'll be waiting for that to come through. So on the VPS setup section, what you'll see is you'll get an email. I've blurred out the details below, but that's my email there below. So you can see that hi blah blah blah, here's your details, here's your username and password where I've done the red arrow there. And you get the IP address of the VPS, etc. I'll show you the IP address later. I haven't showed it in that screenshot, but if you follow this guide down, it'll show you the link where to go. So if we click that link, this will get you to the login screen for Contabo. Let's wait for it to come up there. So if we log in with the details of the email, I'll just hide these, press login, and we'll get into the control panel of my Contabo. So here we go. If we go to your services, you'll see the node there with your details on, and you can see my IP address there. This little manage menu here gives you the option to reinstall a node in case you get it wrong, or in case some of the code doesn't work, or if you want to redo the node after you've set it up, you may want to practice and do it again. That's absolutely fine, and you can do that with the reinstall command, and it'll take you back to factory. I'm just copying the IP address there for later on, because we'll need that IP address when we go and log in to register a domain name. But you can easily get it again. So registering a domain name. So I use Namecheap because the clue's in the name. It's nice and cheap. So on there, search for a domain name that you want for your node. I chose cotinodes.online. The .online extension is quite cheap, as is the XYZ extension. If we search for just awesome COTI node here, for an example, it'll offer you different sort of domain names, but they come in varying different costs. Like I said, the XYZ one there, that's quite cheap. So you may want to just get one of those. So that won't break the bank. The .online ones also seem to be quite cheap as well. So pick your domain name, add it to your cart, go through like I do in these screenshots to buy it, and then once you have purchased it, if you look at the screenshot, I've selected auto renew just so that every year it auto renews itself. Obviously, you've got to have your right bank details on your account. And domain privacy, that's a big one as well. I would always, if you're in crypto, you'll want to, keep everything private for your domain name. You don't want your address being open to the world on there. So make sure you select the privacy option as well. And there may be a small charge for the privacy, but it's nothing big. Right, so once you have your domain name and it's registered, etc., you'll like in these screenshots, you can see that, let's log in. Let's log in now. We sign into the Namecheap, and I'll go through it on here instead. Let's wait for that to log in, and I'll show you what we do. So we go to domain list, and then we're going to go manage the domain. So you see COTI Notes online there. That's my domain I bought. We'll just go manage it. One sec. Domains. Let's write. So the manage button there. Click that. And this is where we'll add an A record in a bit. If we go to advanced DNS, and at the bottom here it says add new record, we'll want to do that because we want to assign if we go to A record, we'll want to assign the IP address that we got off our VPS to the host. Well, you can choose a host name here. I chose tutorial node. So that what happens then, if you paste in the IP address off earlier into the IP address section, you can just go and copy it again like this. So just Control C and then Control V in there. So there we go. So what that means is if we set the TTL to 1 minute or 5 minutes, up to you. I'll press 5. That means how long it takes to update. So click tick on there. So there's the IP and there's the host. So tutorial node. That means that the host name will be tutorial node.cotinodes.online. So what I'm going to do now is, now we have the space linked to the IP address, let's connect to the VPS now because we've got everything we need. So the host name here is tutorial node.cotinodes.online. Yours will be whatever you've put in yours. So yours could be COTI for the host dot in your domain name. So mine's tutorial node.cotinodes.online, and the port will be 22 because that's the default SSH port. So I'm just going to save these details in here. I'm just going to call it something so that the session has a saved name so we can easily refer to it later. I'll just rearrange the screen a little bit. So this is the section in the manual which has the PuTTY tutorial. So just refer to that if you get stuck. So let's just type in my connection COTI Testnet node. Actually, I'll just take that, but let's just put COTI Testnet node. I want to save that. So now I've got a saved connection for every time I want to connect to the node. I'm just going to load it back in again and click open. So this is the first time you'll connect to your VPS. So if everything works, you will ask, it'll say this, it'll say, oh, the service host key is not cached in the registry. The first time you connect, you'll say yes to this. And now we're going to log in with the details that you got on the email from Contabo. So this will be root, and the password, if you go copy it off your email and then paste it in here by doing a right click is a paste. So when you do the right click, you'll not see the password for security reasons. So there you go, you didn't see it. I pressed enter and now I'm in. So I'm just going to clear these details by doing the clear command, then pressing enter. So now we're ready for the install bit. So if we look at this page, install, it's also the install section on the left hand side of the menu there. So this bit is basically the code. So we'll copy this code. There's a little copy button over here on the right. So if you click copy, and that'll be in your clipboard now. You'll be asked if you're installing on the mainnet or the testnet soon. Once we get to that section, and then we will just basically pick testnet because that's what we want to go on. It's giving you a bit of hindsight into what you'll be asked later. For example, your SSH port, your Ubuntu username, email, hostname, private key, C key, and bear in mind your wallet private key it's asking for, not your secret key. Okay, so and if you're ever not sure of any of the answers, like this says, just leave an answer empty, and you can easily run it again by just doing that command down there. So let's paste in by right clicking and pressing enter. So now it's ran the code, which is in blue behind there. Just move this out of the way so you can see that code there. Yep. And it's just running it. So now you get that menu that I talked about. Are we installing on the mainnet, which is number 1, or the testnet, which is number 2? So put in number 2, press enter, and there's the questions it's asking, like it says on the tutorial. So what is your SSH port number? It's 22, press enter. What is your Ubuntu username? If you don't have one, press COT, just type in COTI, press enter. What is your email address? I've set up a special email address for this. You put your email address in, press enter. What is your server host name? So mine is tutorialnode.cotinodes.online. It's the same one that you connected to the VPS with. What is your wallet's private key? Now go copy this from the cps.coti.io or basically on your wallet, and do the same with the seed key and press enter as well. So that's the seed and the private key entered. Now when I pressed enter, it just continues with the rest of the install, as it's got all of the information it needs now to install on the testnet. So this will take a good 2 minutes probably. I'm just estimating that. But if we look down here, just bear with, just scroll down, go to the next section on checking that we're up, basically checking that we're on the testnet, and we'll just have a little read of this while this does this. So if you successfully install the node, you'll get a message in the console to say that the COTI full node is up. So that's the phrase we'll be watching for when we get to the end of this install. Also, there's another way to check that you're up as well, by checking the link just above there where it says look for your node here in blue. So once this is installed, we'll basically look at the website by BetterNode, which will tell us if the node is up. He's basically wrote a front end to the COTI APIs, so it's all live as well. So it's a live link, not like my bot, which is the COTI node alert bot. That's based on a 15-minute cache. So we'll not be using that today. We'd rather use BetterNode's API watcher. So that's just, we'll look at this later though. So we'll just wait for this. I'm just watching it go. This is normal to take this long. There's a lot to install. If you get any errors, they're usually being read, or it'll just stop all of a sudden without saying COTI full node is up. It's downloading the cluster stamp. It's now registering the SSL certificate. Yeah, that was good. It's got the certificate and it's been saved. Brilliant. Waiting for the COTI node to start now. So now it's starting. So this is where the magic happens. Starting to get missing transactions, so it's catching up on chain. Yes, maximize it now. Let's have it so we can see all of the lanes in all of its glory. There we go. COTI full node is up. That's what we're looking for. So if we go have a look at BetterNode's, just move this out of the way here. There we go. Look for your node here. So if we click that, it'll basically do a live check on all of the nodes on the testnet. and get the status back. So it might take it may take about 10 seconds. But once it comes back, we'll be able to check for our node on there. So I'll be looking for tutorialnode.cotinodes.online. You'll be looking for whatever your domain name is. So let's have a look. Let's scroll down here. Can you see it? There we are. tutorialnode.cotinodes.online. So I know I'm now launched. You can have a look at the different columns. Has the date of when I launched and the release on the very end there. So everyone's on the latest release, apart from one of the nodes which is on a snapshot, which will be COTI's own test node, so don't worry about that. So that's pretty much it. Your node is now live on the COTI Testnet. We went right from the start, setting up your wallet, registering a domain name, registering a VPS with Contabo, hooking up the A record so that the domain name knows where the VPS actually exists. We've connected to the VPS, we've ran the code to install everything on the VPS, and then we've looked at, after the node came up, we checked that it was up by watching for the COTI full node is up. Then we went through some of the extra items that you can tackle after this video, like two-factor authentication and the COTI node hardening guide. You don't have to do those, but it is really, recommend that you do. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Telegram. I'm always around somewhere. So take care, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.